Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you are, wherever you are in the world and whatever platform you might be watching this on. We appreciate you being here. I am Stan Shields, and I am here with Dr. Victoria Boyd and Carey Conley. Now, Dr. Boyd is the founder for Systems Summits, and she's going to tell us a little bit more about that in just a minute. And Carey Conley is one of our keynote speakers, and we'll introduce you and tell you more about what she's going to be talking about a little bit later, because she has some incredible information to share with you, and that's going to help in so many ways. So I'm excited. I can't wait to hear all of what she's going to share with us there. Now, before we dive into all of that, though, I want to ask you to make sure that whichever platform you're watching this on, to make sure you go and either subscribe or follow or like or whatever the case may be, based on whichever platform that it is that you're on. And the Systems Summit comes up. Our virtual summit is coming up this coming Friday and Saturday. So it's not too late to go and get registered. Registration's free, so why not go take advantage of it? We have 17 amazing speakers that will be sharing a wealth of knowledge with you with regard to how to have a systems-driven business. Now, before I go on too long, I'm going to introduce you to Dr. Victoria Boyd, who is the founder for Systems Summit. So, Dr. Boyd, tell us a little bit more about Systems Summit and why Systems Summit. What brought this about?
Well, I want to thank everybody for tuning in. It's a pleasure to be here, to have the whole gang right here as we talk. So Systems Summit evolved out of the foundation, which is the Philanthropreneur Foundation, which is a nonprofit I founded in 2014. I actually started using the term in 2012 because I was teaching nonprofit management at UNLV. I had been there for many years, and I kept hearing myself over and over again say, even though you're a philanthropist and thinking about philanthropy, you have to think and have a mindset like an entrepreneur. And so it all evolved. We opened a training center right here in Las Vegas. It's the only brick and mortar nonprofit training center in the state of Nevada. But then the pandemic hit, and we had to look at some other ways to reach our audience. And I have been in the virtual training space for many, many years. A couple of my books are with trainings out there already. And so even before the pandemic hit, I was looking at doing a virtual conference. Systems Summit evolved because I kept getting questions about project management, just all of what I call the 5 core systems: project management, human resources, marketing and sales, accounting and finance, and business development. And looking at the data, I discovered, and probably should have realized, that 86% of all businesses in the United States are micro businesses. That means having 5 people or less employed. Most of them are solopreneurs. And so their biggest challenge is time. And their challenge is time because they don't have systems and processes in place. I'm great for coming up with names. And so Systems Summit with an S was born, or came to be, because I see it as a series of summits. It's going to be every quarter. And we're going to be that resource for micro businesses, whether you're for profit or nonprofit. And it evolved rather quickly, but it's been a great experience because so many people are jumping on board and want to be a part of it. And so Systems Summit will premiere this Friday, October 23rd and 24th. We're going to do a kickoff event Thursday evening at 5 p.m. Pacific time to just celebrate what we're going to do. We're going to talk about the speakers. I have some prizes and things to give away. And so it's going to be a lot of fun just to be a part of the kickoff and see how we put it together and what we have planned. So that is how it all came to be. And then the biggest process was really reaching out to speakers, because normally I was doing live events, conferences here in Las Vegas. And so most of my speakers up until this time have been local, or at least close, that could get here reasonably inexpensively. Now we have a platform of national speakers. I am so excited because we can really bring in the creme de la creme. You know, we have the brulee of speakers. Oh, I know, there I go talking food again. Stan always I talk about food, but I'm sorry. But we have speakers from coast to coast. Bless you, Kazumite. Hey, this is casual. I'm looking forward to what is going to evolve. Looking forward to launching it. I know we will grow and become even more effective in what we're doing. Just know that, hey, this is out of the gate a concept that we are trying to grow and really benefit the micro business sector.
Carey Conley on and talk a little bit. Now, Carey and I go back, I don't know, probably 5 or 6 years, maybe even a little bit more. So Carey was one of my coaches coming up. And so I've got to hear her talk a lot about vision and to learn a lot about her over this years. And she is nothing short amazing. So I want to introduce Carey Conley. And Carey, just tell us a little bit more about your business and just what it is that you're doing these days.
Yeah, Stan, I'm honored to be here. Thank you so much, Victoria and Stan. And I am here because I'm known as the vision expert. When I was in my late 20s, I was doing the corporate gig and was not loving that. So my first mentor that came into my life at that point told me that I could create my life to be whatever I wanted it to be. I just needed to get really, really clear on what that was. So I took an entire day off of work and took a legal pad of paper, because again, this was the late 80s. And I wrote out in great detail everything I wanted my life to look like: my family life, my relationships with my husband, what kind of mom I wanted to be. And I started noodling some ideas around being an entrepreneur. This was the first time I'd ever given myself the license to even think about that. And so I wrote out several different ideas. And one of the things that popped out of my head that day was that I thought that someday I would like to teach vision and goal setting to other people. So if you fast forward 8 years ago, I've been an entrepreneur for over 27 years, but 8 years ago, I created some curriculum and a workbook called Vision is Victory. And I started coaching people on how to get their vision, like I did, out of their head and onto paper, because it was a game changer for me. And so the past 8 years, I have been coaching wonderful people like Stan how to craft that vision specifically around their business. Because most of the entrepreneurs that I meet when I speak and I network, and I still do a lot of that, all virtually, unfortunately, right now for me, but I hear a lot of people telling me that they are super busy, that they feel like they're doing all the right thing, but they're not making any money. And so I entitled my talk for the summit, Vision is Victory: How to Turn Your Expensive Hobby into a Money-Making Business. So that's kind of what I've been doing up to this point, and lots more to come.
Fantastic. And if I can find the buttons, I'm going to bring all of us back on screen here.
We love technology.
Technology, right? There's buttons and all the stuff to do here. So now, let's chat for just a little bit about that title for your keynote speech. Vision is Victory, and how to turn your, what did you say? How to turn your
expensive hobby.
Your expensive hobby. That's it. Good, right? Expensive hobby into a money-making business. I mean, that's that title by itself makes you think. I'm hoping a lot of people look at that and see that and say, well, wait a minute, what does she mean by that?
Right? I hope it has an aha moment, because many people don't really admit that their business is actually just an expensive hobby.
Yeah,
that's right. It has
very
Yeah,
good points that I will make, and that will definitely bring it home. And I have to tell you that, you know, me calling it expensive hobby, that flew out of my mouth one day when I was actually speaking at a women's networking event. They were all entrepreneurs, and I said that, and all of their heads whipped up and looked at me and went, "Oh my God, that's so me." And so, but I do this with a lot of love. It's not to make them feel bad. It's because I want to help them fix that, right? Most entrepreneurs by year 3 are done quitting, and quitting in debt, quitting because they feel like they failed, quitting because they felt like they did all the wrong things. And none of that is true. They just didn't have a game plan to follow. They're kind of winging it. And when you want to turn your expensive hobby into a money-making business, you have to have a quantitative metrics base with target dates. I'm really, really big, as Stan knows, on getting people to set target dates for things, because that's the secret, right?
Absolutely.
Yeah,
Having those benchmarks. My background is education, so having what I call benchmarks,
yes,
where you have to set goals with timelines, you know,
yes,
and that is how you measure your own success. And it's not about making these big goals. It's about celebrating the small little steps and achievements in benchmarks that really start building together and keeping you moving forward. Absolutely. Love that. Yep.
You know, one of the things though that I get from what Carey teaches, and it's amazing to me how it's in many instances, it never clicks until somebody kind of hits you over the head with it, for the most part, is all of us most of us grew up knowing that, okay, we need to set goals, right? But setting a goal without having that clear vision, I don't know what an analogy is of that, right? But that gives you a whole bunch of busy work potentially.
Totally.
Without having that. So you talk about vision. So what do you mean by vision? And, you know, what is that?
Well, what I do is I get people to do what I did, sit down in a very quiet space, and I give them a target date to write about what they want their life and their career to look like, specifically 3 years out. That's the first benchmark. And I after I tell them to write the date on the piece of paper, the next thing I ask them to write is how old they will be, and write the ages of their family members and close friends and anybody that's involved in their life. And the reason I do that is because time and aging are non-negotiable, right? 3 years are going to pass. We can't stop time, and we can't stop aging. And so when I get people to project out, what they start seeing is, okay, I've got some life shifts coming, especially if you have kiddos in your life. Some things are going to change, and I want my life to look like this when that time comes. And from seeing that and getting really, really clear on that lifestyle, that enables them to take the next step, which is to write a business strategy specifically for a year as to what they want the business to look like, the revenue, what they're doing, how they're working, when they're working, who's on their team, who's not on their team. And it then helps them decide in a quarterly basis what projects to do quarter by quarter, so that they're not trying to do it all at once. That's the frustrating part, is that they try and do all the good stuff, all good things at the wrong timing of the business, right? That's what leads them to be really, really frustrated and to invest in a lot of things too soon. So the vision always has to come before the goal. This is why most people don't carry out their New Year's resolutions or those goals they set, because it's not anchored in anything really solid. Right.
So what happens though if it's really difficult, and this has been one of my challenges most of my life, is finding the vision or knowing what it is you want to do, or overcoming the shiny object syndrome, right? Oh, this looks really cool. I'll go do this. Oh, wait, that's not really working out. That looks really great over there. I'm going to go do that.
Yeah, and I've never heard that before. pretty much every one of my clients start out that way, which is why I end up working with them. You know, again, this is why the vision has to be so clear. So what I mean by vision, Stan, is you've got a vision of what you want your life to look like, right? You know what you want your days to look like, how you want to spend your time, who you want to spend it with. You know, what's in the future for you? Do you want to travel more? Do you want to buy a second home? You know, it really is all up to you and what you want that magical life to look like, right? Then that helps you discern what vehicle of a profession aligns with that vision. So when I first wrote my vision, again, I mentioned this earlier, that I didn't really know what I wanted to do as an entrepreneur. So I wrote a lot of things, and I wrote things like, I'd really love to be with a company where it empowers women to be able to stay home and raise their kids. I wanted to make residual income, not just work an hour, get paid an hour, but true residual 6-figure income. I wanted to be able to take my family on a lot of really great trips. And I thought I might want to go into the health and wellness industry, skincare, all of that. So writing all of that and setting up my life the way I wanted it to be, what happened for me 2 years later was I got introduced to my first entrepreneurial gig, which was in the industry of network marketing with a company called Arbonne.
Oh, yeah.
Okay. Right. So, and I knew in an instant that was the vehicle. It checked off all the boxes in my vision. See, so truly an amazing tribe of women leaders that I to this day give them so many accolades for most of who I've become, because they were the ones who started teaching me about law of attraction, power of the mind. You can do anything you set your mind to, goal setting, how to run your business mathematically, right? So I just knew that was the vehicle. So when my clients come to me and we know the vision and the lifestyle, and then they come to me saying, okay, here's the 5 different ideas I have of a business. We can check off the boxes and discern what's the one that lines up with everything you want your life to look like. And let's just stick with that one. With this one, where it's making a sustainable income every month. And then we can think about maybe another one.
Right. Okay. Yeah. Okay. So you kind of touched on, you know, it's I guess an important piece for that in that you come up with this vision of, okay, this is what I want to do. But I think what happens with many people is that we don't truly define it to the detail that you just talked about.
Correct.
We kind of have this vague vision out here, right?
It's a someday plan.
Right. But it just kind of never gets down into the down and dirty, I guess, of truly maybe even making kind of this checklist, right? Because you said check off the boxes, right? Of okay, I want this and this and this and this and this, right?
Yeah.
So we struggle. I think a lot of people struggle with. I know I do struggle with that piece of it. But then you get into the day to day, and it seems like it drags you off into a completely different direction because you're either just trying to make money or because you're trying to maintain this relationship and your spouse or your partner doesn't, you know, they don't like you. You know, you talk about network marketing that worked out great for you. I've probably been in a half dozen or more network marketing companies, right? With great intentions on all of them. But in most of them, it meant I was out in the evenings, and it meant that my wife was now saying, look, I'm at home with the kids, taking care of the kids, and you're running around talking to people about whatever, you know? So I mean, how do people fight through some of those obstacles to make it happen?
Yeah. Well, here's the thing. So as I told you, start big, 3 years, then we net it down into a year. Then what happens is we break the year into, like I said, those quarterly chunks. And then that becomes knowing what to do for a month. When you've got the month goals, that becomes knowing what to do for the week. And that becomes knowing what to do just today. So I am very intentional with every hour of my day. Even if it's to do nothing for an hour, that is a very intentional choice. So I learned a long time ago, I am very time blocked and very time structured, Stan, and I really stick to it. And that's hard for most entrepreneurs because we are really creative beings. We like to create. right? But the challenge also is we are really creative beings and we like to create. So we have to always check in. And literally, if I have a client who just cannot feel an hour to pass to save their life, there are lots of people like that. I get them to start setting timers on their phone every 60 minutes to go off and to stop themselves and ask them, with my vision and my goal, specifically this week's goal, what is the best use of my next hour?
Hmm.
And I'm going to stick with that. Right?
Wow.
I also have to communicate the time blocking to whoever is in my life. So when I was working at homestand raising my kids, I had a traveling husband. I had to tell my family at the beginning of every month, here's the dates that I'm going to be gone. And I was gone 2 nights a week building my outbound business. So I get it.
Mm-hmm.
That structure has changed a lot. I have to tell you, those being gone, coffee appointments, nightly meetings, all different now.
Yeah.
But I communicated to them, look, I'm going to be gone this night and this night. I'm going to be here for the family for these sports activities. Our family day was always Sundays. We did no work on Sundays. That was our rule. So we had clear intentions. And the family also knew that when I was gone, what I was doing was earning the next trip for the family. What I was doing was helping fund the private school that our kids went through. So it was a team effort. Everybody buys into the vision, right?
There you go.
We have to get really clear first and foremost on how we time block ourselves and manage our time so that we can communicate that and everybody's respectful of when you're in your office and you're working.
Yes. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Very good. Wow. Great nuggets there. So I cannot wait to see the full presentation. Now, you also have something special that you're offering to people, right? Let me just put this on the screen right here. So you've got your Vision is Victory Masterclass. Okay. So what is that?
Well, you have been through this, Stan. So I used to do, and I'm getting ready to do one of my own again virtually in December.
You remember that?
Look at that. Even the old thing. Yes.
That's right. It's the old version. That's right.
Yes.
It's always pretty close by. I haven't, I didn't lose it.
I love that, Stan. I'm honored that you still have that. So I recorded a live one-day Vision is Victory masterclass. And in this class, I take people from first and foremost talking about why I say vision is victory and how it fixes just about everything in your life and your business. Mm-hmm. And then I talk about how to write it on paper like I did and how to get unstuck, because when people write their vision, all the stuff starts bubbling into their head, right? Mm-hmm. So it's a recorded class that's on my website, and you can go see the first module by texting the word guide, all in caps, to 26786. It'll give you a first hour free, or you can go to go.careyconley.com/masterclass.
Perfect. Awesome. Yeah. All right. Well, we have got that posted right there. I'm going to leave that up on the screen for a bit there. And I, once again, appreciate you coming on for this, right? Yeah. And looking forward to hearing your keynote presentation. It's going to be on Saturday, I believe, right? Yours is Saturday at 1:00 p.m. Pacific time. It's so funny. We talk about Pacific time, and I went back and forth going, all right, is it PDT? Or is it PST? Well, how do you know which one? I actually Googled it one day, not too long ago. I said, okay, how do I know which one is which? And, it gave an explanation that halfway made sense. And I said, you know what? If you just put Pacific time, everybody knows what you're talking about.
They totally get it. Yes.
So 1:00 p.m. Pacific time for Miss Carey Conley. Any final words, Dr. Boyd, that you would like to say before we end our broadcast?
Absolutely. We are going to run today only a fast action registration for the summit. It's going to expire tonight at midnight. So if you're hearing this, and this is October 20th, it's the Tuesday, this fast action will expire tonight. If you put in AAP 50, you're going to get 50% off either the All Access Pass or the Summit Club. So that's like a giveaway we're giving right now just to honor Carey for being on here. Fast action ends tonight. So hopefully, people are seeing this and they'll get 50% off registration.
This is it, AAP 50?
Yep.
Perfect. There it is, systemsummit.com. Register, and you'll get the special bonus if you put in AAP 50. Perfect. All right. Any last words, Miss Conley?
You know, it's just the thing I want everybody to know is to not give up on this year yet. I know so many people get really tempted when we start ending this year to just wave their white flag and say, you know what, I'm just going to have to wait until January 1. And here's what I've been telling all my clients. Today is January 1, because how you end this year is how you start next year. So end strong, set some goals, even if you have to adjust them because of what's been happening this year. Have some quantitative goals and keep your foot on the gas.
Yeah. That's exactly why I went ahead and pushed to do System Summit, because, you know, the year was going down the tube really, really fast. And I needed to have something that I was working on.
Yes.
And so I think System Summit coming out in October to help people visualize and actually take some action plans between October and December. So they'll be ready for our January summit. You know, it's a great first step or second step or whatever step it is for them.
Stay in the game.
Just get started, right? So absolutely. All right. Very good. Thank you very much. Once again, thank both of you for being on with me today. I appreciate it. And we are going to end the broadcast in just a second here. Make sure that you like, follow, subscribe, whatever it is, whichever channel, whichever platform it is that you're watching on. Make sure that you follow us into the future. And we appreciate you for watching and being here with us. And we will see you next time in our next broadcast.